Morning, Woodard residence. May I help you?
You already have.
Kim.
Yes, thank you. It's here and it's wonderful.
You saw the column.
I'm thinking of having a bronze.
Are you sure Preston's going to see it?
Of course. Everybody in the business reads Suzanne Mason. Preston is going to drop dead, and he'll blame Connie. She's doomed.
Come on by after rehearsal. Tell me what happens.
I'll be there with every gory detail. Are you sure you'll have the shirts ready by this afternoon?
I take it the doctor is in?
That's right. No delivery. I'll pick them up myself. And thank you again.
You're welcome. I'll see you later, Mrs. Bolak.
There are pecan rolls in the refrigerator if you'd like some.
No, thank you.
First section of the morning paper?
Thank you. That was the cleaners on the phone, I hope?
Yes, it was, and I'm perfectly capable of handling them myself without your expert supervision. Thank you.
Good. Rehearsal this morning?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Have anything planned for Connie today?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. See if I ever tell you a secret again. It's not as if Connie lost her job. The only thing that happened was that I got a chance to rehearse with Preston. And the producer and the playwright and the director got a chance to see what I could do.
You honestly don't think you've done anything wrong, do you?
All right, I confess. I'm not a Girl Scout. Nobody really got hurt. So Connie had a little headache afterwards. So what?
So you're not rehearsing Lucretia Borgia? Drugging Connie Markham was at the very least amoral, not to mention dangerous.
Has anyone ever told you you're self-righteous and boring?
Yeah, probably more times than you've been told you're adolescent and self-centered.
I am not self-centered. And if I am, it's your fault.
Now, how did it get to be my fault?
I try to take an interest in you, but you push me away. You ignore me. Seneca, you treat me like a child. Well, I'm tired of being punished. You come home here late every night, and you go to bed. I mean asleep.
You know, Kim, you're going to have to learn that the entire world does not revolve around you. I'm late because I'm busy. I go to sleep because I'm exhausted.
You find time for everybody else who needs you. And when the times that you do squeeze me into your schedule, it's usually to pick on me, not to give me the support I need.
I can't support behavior that's deceitful.
You won't even try to understand what I'm going through. I'm not your little trooper. When I get rejected, I feel hurt and I can't help it. You think my acting is a game? Well, it's not. It's hard work, and it's a demanding profession.
Which you chose for yourself. And which at best produces a great generosity of spirit and self-discipline. I only hope that after sufficient exposure to it, you'll find those things in yourself. Because if anyone thinks of your career as a game, Kim, it's you.
Well, thanks for the use of the hall.
What?
I was just expressing my gratitude.
Oh.
Mr. Church is used to first-class surroundings, and your parlor is a lot more impressive than my apartment downstairs.
Oh, cut the charm. It's not working, and it certainly isn't necessary.
I wasn't trying to charm anyone.
Oh, sure. Besides, I'm not doing this as a favor to you. Frank says if anyone can get Jill acquitted, it'll be Claudius Church.
It is important to me, to all of us, that Mr. Church takes this case. I have to admit, his credentials have me a little bit intimidated.
Why do I get the feeling he's interviewing us rather than the other way around?
Because he is. Mention anything about Church's fees?
Yeah. He said they'd range from astronomical to totally unaffordable. But whatever he cost, I know he's worth it.
Yeah, well, I'm more than willing to share the expenses.
Well, so am I. Assuming Church takes the case, you know money's not going to be the problem.
No, it's how to convince Jill that she should take him up on it.
Well, one step at a time. Listen, I'm going to be gone for a couple days at the end of the week, so you watch the house.
Sure, I remember. Where you headed?
New Orleans. For a long weekend.
New Orleans? Well, it's not exactly Mardi Gras season. Why not?
Well, for a couple of reasons. I've never been there, and I heard the cooking is terrific.
Creole cooking.
Mm-hmm. And I really need to get away.
You forgot to mention the jazz.
What?
How much you love jazz. But, Faith, if you're going to start sneaking off for weekends with Frank Ryan, you ought to cover your tracks a little bit better than that.
I am not sneaking off anywhere.
I'm just trying to be helpful.
Roger, back off, and I mean it.
Why get involved with Frank Ryan at this point, at any point?
I know what I'm doing.
Well, I'm sure you do, but does Frank? I mean, in light of all the breakups and reconciliations between Frank and Jill, I would make book on it.
Roger, you know better than anyone else it is over between them. Jill does not want to marry Frank.
Yeah, I wonder where I've heard that one before.
Jill does not want the lifestyle Frank does. And I do. I want him. I'll tell you something. I have never been happier, healthier, steadier in my entire life than when I'm with Frank. And I'm finally going to take what I want.
Faith!
Roger, anything you say will not change my mind. End of discussion. Never mention it again. Ever. Go away.
That's Mr. Church. Personalized license plates and limousine a block long.
Oh, great. Guess who gets to pay for the gas? Please, come in.
Dr. Coleridge? Dr. Coleridge? I'm Claudius Church. At your disposal for the next 20 minutes or so. I'm afraid my secretary has booked me rather tightly this morning, so why don't we dispense with the usual formalities, huh? I understand it's a pleasure to meet me and that I'm much better looking than you expected, but don't let the patrician appearance deceive you. Underneath this dapper exterior is a very brash and scrappy attorney whose success has afforded him all kinds of extravagances, but whose success has also afforded him the one luxury he considers invaluable. I only accept cases which interest me. So, let's sit down, please. Let's talk.
Sarah May, where did you go? You're a million miles away.
I was thinking about what you said, about how my eyes are like luminous.
I don't know what you thought you had to gain by this, you treacherous, backbiting little viper. But so far as I'm concerned, you're dead.
Preston, I don't know what you're talking about. What did I do?
I trusted you. You betrayed me. I regard this as unforgivable. Elliot, I want Miss Markham fired.
What?
I want her out, fired, gone, goodbye. I refuse to share the stage with her, if you permit me to say so. It's no great loss. She wasn't that good anyway.
Now, wait a minute, Preston. Now, wait just a minute. Obviously, there's been some kind of a misunderstanding. I want you to calm down and tell me what happened.
I honestly don't know what I've done.
Oh? Under the headline Backstage Secrets, the irony of which may escape some of us. And I quote, "The Tony Award winner returning to Broadway this season knocked the proverbial socks off his young leading lady, and it wasn't in the script." The unsuspecting ingenue entered his dressing room from unannounced to find the longtime matinee idol combing his hair, which was not located on his head at the time. Bald as an egg, his vanity wounded, he swore the poor girl to secrecy. The producer and his Tony Award-winning director are banking heavily on Humpty Dumpty sex appeal. Need I continue?
No.
I don't understand.
Elliot, tell the girl she's fired.
I just can't believe this.
Elliot and Mitchell and Peter worked for 2 years to get this project off the ground, and you ruin our chances with one phone call to that harpy, Susanna Mason. Did you need the publicity that badly?
I did not call her, I swear.
Now, wait a minute. Hold it. Now, hold just a minute. Now, listen to me. Both of you, listen to me. Nobody's going to be fired, and nobody's going to quit. I'll make some phone calls. I'll get to the bottom of this.
I didn't do it. I wouldn't be that
Well,
stupid.
sweetheart, I know. I'm sure there's some explanation for this. Now, don't worry about Preston. He'll cool down, all right?
I'm aware that I gave my permission to allow Miss Markham's name to appear above the title with mine. I hereby withdraw that permission. And until this matter is resolved, however, I am prepared to rehearse.
Well, I am not.
Well, Preston. Oh, actors, huh? Actors. Well, I guess I better go and talk to Peter for a little while. I'll tell you what you do. Will you go inside him and start rehearsal with Preston? I'll come back and straighten things out with Connie. I'll check with the newspaper, see what that's all about. How's that sound, huh? A day in the life of a producer.
I always wondered what producers do.
Now you know. The big question is why?
I've followed your sister's case closely through the media. She's been generating a lot of ink and airtime, but I suspect most of that coverage is grossly distorted. Nevertheless, the basic issues do intrigue me. And of course, Ken George Jones' notoriety all but obscures the legal implications. So I would appreciate your giving me a capsule version of the facts as you know them.
Well, it's hard to know where to begin. Ken was a patient of mine. He was also my sister's lover. He was terminal, and as his condition deteriorated, the painkillers became less and less effective. And toward the end, he was faced with the choice of excruciating pain or limited consciousness, accompanied by a drug-induced paranoia. His response to that choice was to request an overdose.
He asked you this directly?
On several occasions. Dr. Bolak was also approached. Jill appealed to both of us, as did Barry Ryan, Ken's manager and close friend.
All of which makes for a hell of a lot of witnesses or suspects.
Well, it was no secret. Now, naturally, neither Dr. Bolak nor myself would consent to assist in Ken's suicide. Though we did empathize with his wish to have some control.
Death with dignity, quality of life, big questions. So, tell me, what happened the day of Ken's death?
Well, Jillian visited him that morning and found him with a syringe in his hand. He was too weak to inject himself. He begged her for help. She refused. She tossed the syringe into a wastebasket well out of his reach. Apparently, she was in conflict about that decision, and she went to talk with Maeve Ryan, a family friend.
Senator's mother?
Yes. She's sort of a touchstone for Jill. Now, they had talked a lot before that day, but on that particular occasion, Maeve sensed that Jill had come to some sort of decision. Now, by the time Maeve reached me and we got to Ken's room, it was too late. Jill was sitting beside Ken with the empty syringe in her hand. On the table beside the bed was the cassette case and the plastic bags which had been used to smuggle in the heroin.
So what you're telling me is that no one actually witnessed Jillian administer the drug?
No.
Good. So what happened when you went into the room? What was your sister's demeanor? Did she say anything?
She was calm, though there were tears streaming down her face. I called for a resuscitator, and when I leaned over to check his vital signs, she grabbed me and said, "Don't you dare. Leave him alone." And I began emergency procedures. It was a few minutes before I was sure that we'd lost him. When I turned around, Jill was gone.
Without telling you where she was going?
Which left us in a bind. Because of the illegality of the drug, a routine investigation was called for. But at the time, it was assumed that it was a suicide until Maeve Ryan's testimony. She tried like hell to avoid any statement, but she couldn't lie under oath. So, based on what Maeve had seen, they indicted Jillian for murder.
And her vanishing act didn't help matters, I imagine.
Jill headed up north and checked into a hotel under my name. But the hotel manager recognized her from a picture in the newspaper.
Yes. Now, that's not an easy face to disguise. But what surprises me is that she didn't even make some kind of an effort, you know? Hat, sunglasses, something. Tell me, do you think she was headed north for the Canadian border?
Well, I don't know what I think. I think Jill has been under a tremendous amount of strain. And ever since she was arrested, she's been acting very strangely, very much within herself. I don't know.
Are there any more questions, Mr. Church?
Yes, for now, just one. Did she do it?
There are no doubts that she did.
Is she admitting it?
No, in fact, she's made no statements whatsoever.
Good. Heaven protect me from clients with a compulsion to confess.
No, that's not Jill's problem. However, I think you should know that Jill is dead set on handling her own defense. She's very independent under any circumstances. And just at the moment, she's not accepting help from anyone, no matter how desperately she needs it.
Which she does.
Yeah.
Jillian has what we politely call a very controlling personality.
Sounds self-destructive to me.
Well, yeah, she's been called that, too. Mr. Church, Jill can't know that we've contacted you. Otherwise, she will refuse your services out of hand.
Well, then I think the best course is for me to contact her myself and not mention this meeting at all.
Then you will take the case.
If all goes well, I certainly shall.
Thank you very much.
Oh, on the contrary, Doctor. Thank you. I'm fascinated. I'll be in touch. It's a pleasure to meet you both, and I really wouldn't worry too much. I can handle this, Coleridge.
I believe that man could handle anything.
Vicious. I thought Preston was going to have kittens. Can't last.
What a shame.
Thank you again.
You're welcome again.
I remember that.
Michael. Hello, darling. Michael, were there any messages?
Oh, just a few phone calls, nothing urgent.
Don't you look lovely? And you look like the cat that swallowed the canary. Now, what's happened? Did you have a good rehearsal?
Wonderful. Except for Preston's mild fit of hysterics and Connie Markham's all-morning crying jack.
Then that item in Suzanne Mason's column was about Preston. You know, I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. What a treat to have it confirmed. Oh, thank you so much. Is he really all that bald?
Billiard ball time.
Well, how disillusioning. Where does Mason get her stuff?
I don't know. I'd love to sit and dish the dirt with you some more, but I really don't have any more gossip. Besides, I think I have to be going. I'll see you later.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Oh, my. Oh, that was close.
What was?
Oh, you nearly gave us away up there. You know, we're going to have to start being a little more discreet. Or else we're going to have to stop meeting like this.
You're right. You know, I was thinking, maybe I should have a place of my own, a small, comfortable, nearby.
A wonderful idea. I gotta tell you, this is as much for me as it is for you.
Thank you.
Yeah?
A bathrobe.
I beg your pardon. A silk lounging robe. Very elegant.
Very pricey.
No, don't mention money. Come on, let me see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. You know, when I was a kid growing up in the Midwest, I always dreamed that one day I'd have a Hollywood version of a New York penthouse.
You've got it.
And I'd have limousines and champagne and breakfast in bed, and everything was gonna be silk. You know something? I was so right. Silk is beautiful.
Well, I'm not very big on lounging, but I can appreciate the appropriateness for times when you don't feel like getting dressed. It feels good.
You bet it does.
Nice.
Very nice.
I just keep thinking Kimberly's going to come back in.
You know something? That idea you had about a place of your own, very good.
For us. A quiet, private, no phones, and only 2 keys.
Why don't you get to work on that right away?
I will.
Sex, sex, and more sex. You can always count on the tenants of Melrose Place for a scorching hot, super scandalous roll in the hay. Don't miss all the bed hopping on Melrose Place. Today at 4 on SoapNet.